I had a terrific art teacher in high school named Norm Lee, and we became friends after I graduated. And he bought me a beautiful copy of the notebooks of Leonardo da Vinci, which I absorbed. Looked at it all the time, studied the drawings carefully. And so when Evil Dead came up, and Sam didn't actually need pages drawn in it. He was just going to show people looking at it, and hopefully their expressions and reactions would, sell the idea. But being an artist and having to draw all the time if I can, I decided to illustrate it. And if you look at it clearly, it was influenced by Da Vinci's notebooks, where he did anatomy drawings from biopsies and animals and portions of humans and anatomy and such like that. I even did parodies of them of a sort. There's a famous drawing of showing the back of a muscular man without skin, but you can see the musculature, and I added bat wings to it. There's another one where the figure who's in two poses, and he's in a square and a circle, and it's to show the proportions and such. That I parodied by having a demon in a pentagon and in a triangle, just to show that. And also Da Vinci had, also Lovecraft is another influence in my life and in Evil Dead, at least that I brought to it. And but Da Vinci had developed a way to write in reverse so that it could only be read in a mirror. And this is so that people couldn't copy and steal his ideas, which is a shame because his medical knowledge and advancements and studies would have gotten him killed, because desecrating cadavers was a crime by death back then. And so he had to do that all secret, and his notebooks were hidden until like the 1900s. Those definitely influenced it and the style. So I kind of decided that the author, the Dark One of the Book of the Dead, was like the Da Vinci of ancient Sumeria, and had not only studied all these bizarre occultic creations, but had worked out the spells and incantations. And so I wanted to have another language. Part of it is done in kind of a pseudo hieroglyphics, and for that I didn't have a reference. I didn't take the notebooks with me. That didn't occur to me, but I had kind of memorized them, And so, but I also had seen the Ten Commandments with Yul Brynner and Charlton Heston. And so I was trying to remember what's behind Yul Brynner's pharaoh on the walls, the hieroglyphs. What was carved into that? And I was trying to remember those. And of course I was in a hurry to get the book done, so I would just come up with whatever came into my head. Now at this point, I'd like to kind of display some of my artwork here. I love to draw. Big Frank Frazetta fan. Steve Ditko were big influences on my early career. They, to me, were very, very much the best. And like I said, this was created by myself, but influenced by Da Vinci's notebooks. And I tried to put little references that were in the script of Evil Dead, or Book of the Dead at the time, as well as personal things. For example, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a loving tribute to Sam Raimi, young kid, 19-year-old genius at movies. And here's some of the anatomy drawings showing the bodily dismemberment, things like that. Here's the demon hands that later influenced the gloves that burst out of Scotty and Cheryl at the finale. And I'm wearing those, made out of Playtex gloves with chicken legs that I broke off the tips of one end and then glued them on with latex rubber. And I'm wearing those and throwing gutzes on the audience. Very proud of that. Here's one of the Da Vinci drawings inspired by, but I added the wings of the demon to it. And here's a example of the meltdown sequence, where it's an arm, then it's decomposing down to a skeleton, and then down into ashes down here. And just the various demon elements. Some of the lettering has kind of a hieroglyphic effect to it. This one was part of one of the rituals would be is you'd place your hand in the book. But this would be a page for a ritual where you would recite names with your hands on it as having a contact with it. And any number of other things that I was looking for interesting ideas and thinking that perhaps this fellow was not only interested in magic, but had become aware of other solar systems. So I created another solar system with a sun and various planets. This page here was influenced at the time. The Disney film The Black Hole was coming out, and the best thing about that film for my eyes was the commercial where there's a booming voice: in outer space there's a force so strong not even light can escape its gravitational pull. And you're going around a graphic of the gravity well of a black hole, and so that kind of became that. Here's the whiteout of the eyes, the before and after of it. So I'm trying to incorporate things that would happen in the movie into the book. Here's the triangle and the pentagon with the flying demon in it in pile of skulls. Why not? Here's an homage to marijuana, which I used to be a big fan of until late onset asthma. Another astronomical thing of a strange moon and the various phases of it. Here's a page with the people who have been trapped throughout history in the Book of the Dead. There's Ash, Shelley, and Linda, Cheryl. There's Hal. That's me down in the corner. That's Tim Philo, the director of photography, and there's a nice face of the book. And you can't go wrong with skulls and snakes. They're creepy. And this is the page that shows you the flame is what kills the demon. And so you have to throw the book into the fire. When it came to the Kandarian dagger, Sam just needed a dagger, just something ornamental. And so I was a huge fan of Alien when it came out, and H.R. Giger's work just floored me. You may notice that if you impale somebody with this and it's sticking out, it does kind of resemble the little baby alien that burst out of John Hurt in the film. And completely intentional. Kudos to them. This is the same hilt from the first movie, but the blade is different. This is the Evil Dead 2 Kandarian dagger. And the first one, it was just a simple piece of aluminum that I had machined on my dad's grinder. I gave it to Sam. And so for the sequel, he brought the original back and we made a mold of the hilt. And I decided it needed a more impressive blade. And I also created, designed, and sculpted and built the flying deadite from the end of Evil Dead 2. And I thought I'd give it a hard cartilage tail that was like a blade. So I thought I'll make that. I never even told Sam about that. This might be the first time he's hearing about it. But so this would be the tail, just the end point of this long blade from a flying deadite. Here's the second jewelry box from The Evil Dead, the first film. And I had painted the first one, and it had a similar design to it. And they had filmed a shot of it and immediately lost it. So I had to paint another one, but I didn't have any photographs, any continuity pictures of it. So I just kind of winged it. I had some hearts in it and a rectangle, and I can't remember what. So if you look closely, you can tell the two different box covers. But this is the original second one, painted in acrylic paints. This is the Evil Dead 2 necklace, and I'm quite certain it was made by the very talented Tony Elwood, who's also a remarkable filmmaker. And this was given to one of the prop master, Blanche Sindelar, and she very generously gave it to me. And but it is from the film. I don't know how many of these were made, but I have this one, and it's in very, very good shape. But it was designed for the film, definitely was. These two parts are going together as a thing. I'm very happy about that. This is my shooting script for Book of the Dead, later to be renamed Evil Dead, and having to draw on everything, love to draw. I did a cover. This is before we'd even cast the actors, but there's 4 heads on the top, and representing the 4 Deadites, and not knowing their fates or what the end-up makeups would look like, or even the characters, but that's them. And of course, before the Book of the Dead was even created, I just came up with that and made it look fancy and all that. Copyright. The book, that is, not the artwork. I own that. But Renaissance Pictures, Sam and Rob's company. And then I did an interesting little skull drawing on the back. And this also has some of my notes throughout it. Not extensive, but it is the complete script. And just has little notes to myself. Sam gave me 2 weeks with this script before we started filming, which for a special effects guy is just shoot me now. But fortunately, I'm a genius, so it all worked out fine. Here's a drawing I'm very proud of. It is my drawing that I did that is shown where Cheryl, Ellen Sandweiss's character, is shown drawing it. I sat, as she did, in front of, in the same position, and drew the actual beautiful clock that Sam had found. And iconic clock. I love how its simplicity, and it shows what it was. It was set at a particular time, which has an interesting meaning to Sam Raimi that I believe only he knows. But I drew in the shadows the way they were shown, the way it was lit. And so when Ellen is shown drawing it, she's simply going over lightly with my ebony pencil some of the lines that are already established. I love how people fake doing artwork in movies. You can always tell they didn't draw it, they're painting it, they're just going over some solid piece of it. Here is the chainsaw from Evil Dead, the musical, the Broadway production. And it's in great shape. Doesn't actually run, of course, but and has a little battle damage from being used on the set, which makes it that much more important. And here's the, they didn't actually have to cut off Bruce's hand or the actor's hand who played it. It fits in here. It's very clever, and there's a grip. And so you can do that, and you won't have to have your hand reattached, which is a pain and takes weeks to heal. It's also signed by Ryan Ward, who played Ash in the play, not only in there, but in Toronto. And he nailed it. I'd seen him play Ash several times. And what a treat.